o'clock, and I opened the meeting for the Planning Authority Committee meeting, the 19th of February, and I want to welcome each one of you here. We have Councillor Louise Elliott as elected member. We have Councillor Ryan Persault, Councillor Ben Lohberger, Councillor John Kelly, and Councillor Bill Harvey, and I'm Mike Datta, the chair. I want to also welcome the members of the public to this meeting. Apologies. We have apologies from the Lord Mayor, Anna Reynolds, and apologies from the Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Dr. Zelinda Sherlock. And we also have now with us Councillor Kittos. Thank you. Acknowledgement to the country. In recognition of the long history and profound culture of the First Nations people, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land upon which the city of Hobart was built. I note and respect the struggles and resilience of the Palawa people of Tasmania, who survived invasion and dispossession. Our First Nations people who continue to struggle, who continue to fight for their rights and to maintain their culture and identity. I pay respect to the leaders of those who have gone in the past and stood for their rights and for their culture, and also the present leaders. Number 2 on the agenda, confirmation of the minutes. If someone would like to move Bill Harvey. All in favor? Aye. Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Number 3, consideration of supplementary items. There is none. Number 4, indications of pecuniary and conflict of interest. Is there any? No conflicts. Thank you. Number 5, transfer of agenda items. No. Number 6, Planning Authority items consideration with deputation. We have no deputations today. Item 7, committee acting as planning authority, and again I draw your attention to the provisions under Rule 25 of the meeting procedures rules and our responsibility that we are now acting as the planning authority. 7.11, 1844 Napoleon Street, Battery Point Slipyard Works. That's the first item on the agenda.
Chair, I'm happy to move the item.
Items moved.
I note that there was one representation against. I think, what was it, 4 or 5-4. So if those positive representations weren't there, this would have just gone through the officers, wouldn't it?
Through you, Chair. No. The representations, yep, in terms of our delegation are representations opposed. The reason this has been referred to the committee is because this is council land, which is not road reservation. Okay, yep.
Yep, still happy to support it. I think this is I don't know, one of those moments. We've got this movable heritage, all over the state basically, and this particular ship, I hope, gets a second chance of being restored. I've been on it once, I recall. I don't know, probably don't know how long ago, around the Derwent. I think we had dinner on it a long time ago. But I'm hopeful that it will see, better days than it currently is. I hope they can get it out of the water down there at Franklin and get it onto the slipway as soon as possible and start the restoration process. So I look forward to it commencing. I think it's 6 metres longer than what's allowed or something like that, but I think that's an easy concession to make for this application. So very pleased to see this boat, well, I will be very pleased to see it, slowly restored over time back to its former glory. So good luck to the proponents, and I hope it all goes smoothly. I'm sure there's some sort of phrase we use in sailing that I don't know to wish a ship luck, but anyway, if someone knows it, throw it in.
Councillor Lohberger.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to echo the comments of Councillor Harvey. I think, like generations of Tasmania, of Hobart school kids, I've been on a couple of mystery cruises on the Cartilla, which always end up at Dens Point. And I really missed seeing the boat sort of tootling around on the estuary there. this is a great little proposal. It's a good use of our slip yards, I think, and I'm not bothered by the fact that the boat is slightly bigger than it should be. So yes, I'll certainly be supporting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Kitsots.
Yes, through you, Chair, to the Director. I was just wondering, there was a representation put in it regarding noise and potentially pollutants from the work to restore the boat. My understanding is that this application poses no additional risk to the standard use of the slip yards. Is that a pretty accurate understanding?
Chair, the application was carefully considered by our environmental planner, and yes, that was ultimately the conclusion that he formed. He did have some further discussions with the applicant about the possible noise, but was ultimately satisfied that we didn't need to condition for a noise report to be provided. He was mindful that this is already a slip yard. There is already some noise and other amenity impacts from the usual operations. So he was not concerned that this activity was going to really create any greater impacts.
Great, thanks very much.
Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think it's fit and proper that a boat built in 1913, I think it was, or 12, gets its second chance in a Hobart slipyard that's been there for a very long time. A few metres over the length is neither here nor there, one would not think. And as has been said tonight, this has been front and centre. If you've lived in Hobart for any duration of time, it's just such an important part to our heritage and the fabric of society. This will be a great thing for Battery Point. We talk about walkways and bikeways and all that. This will be just outstanding in what it does. It will reflect our deep link to the maritime history and heritage of boat building. I've spoken to the committee who are behind the scenes in this, and there's a lot of work going on at the moment in getting this done. It's just simply not a matter of towing it up and putting it on a slip and getting some scrapers and paintbrushes out. It's a complicated move, how to get it up there, and with all this authority, the work that's need to be done, but it's heading in the right direction. I think we as a council, this is exactly the project we should be absolutely doing everything we can and going out of our way for such a huge interest group. It's not a minority group here like we've seen of late with a lot of things. This is a general good feeling so indelibly etched into Hobart's psyche. So we as a council should be really supporting this in every single way we can. So I fully support this this motion tonight. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Passot.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, echoing the sentiment of everyone around the table tonight, I think that it's important to put on the public record that I'm a strong supporter of those slip yards being used for restoration of historic vehicles and making it as accessible to the public as possible, which a Battery Point walkway may achieve. Ships like the Minstrel, which are being repaired, which is the boat, I believe, that sits under the tarp at the waterfront, may be more appropriately stored and more easily restored, in fact, at places like Battery Point slip yards, and it's an appropriate use of that historic facility. So any efforts that are made to brought vessels of import to the Hobart community to a public place where they can be seen and viewed as they're repaired by mostly, as Councillor Kelly mentions, volunteer groups, I think is a really good thing. So hopefully they can get the Cartilla up and may she have safe travels and smooth sailing on the way here. There you go, Councillor Harvey, just for you.
Doesn't quite fit it. I'm sure there's another one.
Thank you, Councillor Passot. Any other comments? Anyone else? No, I also want to comment. Firstly, just make three very simple points. Firstly, I think for me, it satisfies the relevant provisions, and as a planning authority, that's what we are looking for. We are looking for evidence and facts that satisfies the provisions of the planning rules, and for me, it does. I also want to secondly point out that we have a sentimental value, an attachment to the Cartilla because our eldest daughter celebrated her 18th birthday on it. So if I can just mention that as a record, and a number of our college students when we used to go there. So there is that attachment. But the third point that I want to also make, and it has been mentioned already by Councillor Kelly, it's the heritage aspect of it. And we as a city are able to really pride on this and say we want to really lend our support and to make sure that it's restored to its former glory. Thank you very much. I put that motion recommendation moved by Councillor Harvey. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. 7.1.2, 1 Peel Street, Sandy Bay, the signage.
Move the item.
Move, Councillor Harvey. Any comments, any questions? No questions, no comments, no discussion.
I'll make a quick comment. I do think, like the previous item, this is another heritage item. It's recognising the heritage that was underneath the former, well, the renovated section of Hutchins that's being worked on at the moment. It was a big surprise to a lot of people that there were so many bodies still there, and I think it's great that we are that a sign is put up to memorialise those people, and it's in the exact right spot with all the other memorial stuff that comes from the Queenborough Cemetery.
Thank you. Okay, there are no comments. I put that motion. All in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 8.1 Delegated Decisions Report. Someone move.
Moved.
Moved. Any questions? Councillor Passolta, I'm looking at your body language. I think I'm waiting for a few more minutes. All okay? No? All fine. Okay, I'll put that. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. 8.2, Planning Advertising Report.
So moved.
Councillor Passolta moved. Questions? Councillor Passolta.
Yeah, thank you. Item 8, took a call from a resident today on it as well. I don't think we need to talk to it, but when are we expecting to see it come before planning? And while you're looking for that, do we have an indication? I assume a major development like this has been worked through with our officers and will likely be recommended for approval.
Given that the advertising period has not closed, I'll be reluctant to make any comments along those lines. But we do, as much as possible, give developers feedback, particularly if it's likely to be recommended for refusal before it's advertised. And to my knowledge, that has not happened. Do you know which meeting? Through you, Chair, sorry, we will have to take the meeting date on notice.
That's fine. And equally with item 7, when are we expecting to see that to come before the committee?
Through you, Chair, we have been working towards the 12th of March meeting. As elected members may be aware that the initial effort to advertise that application was not carried out properly, so we had to restart the advertising period. That may, depending on the number of representations that we get, that may mean that the 12th of March meeting date is not realistic, but we are very much working towards that date.
And final question, do we have an indication of how many representations we've had so far?
Through you, Chair, I haven't heard any news, which probably means the representation numbers are on the low side.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? No, I put that. All in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Responses to questions without notice. Someone move that we receive and be noted. Councillor Lohberger. All in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried unanimously. Questions without notice, number 10. Any questions? No questions. Thank you very much. Someone move that we close this portion of the meeting. Move, Councillor Lohberger. We close the meeting. All in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried unanimously.